If you're here, do you have a piece of paper, Tammy?
Sorry, it should be going around.
If you're here and you wish to speak, just write your name down on the piece of paper so we have an accurate record. Okay, thank you. First up on the agenda is approval of the minutes of 6/15/17. They were sent out. I have a motion to approve.
Move to approve the minutes for June.
Second.
John seconding. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. We have 6 members here. Okay. Since we have a lot of people here, I'm going to jump over all the other stuff and go to the Easthampton School Department's batting cage request. Now, I'm entertaining this. This is me. This isn't the CPA committee. I had been on Jamie asking, when is the football field lighting going to be done so we can get our $50,000 back? But she informed me today that it's done.
Yes.
And we are getting our money back. So this is
Yes.
good, because I just have a pet peeve about giving money away to a department, anybody, if they already have projects that haven't been finished. So I'm very happy to hear that. I'm sure the committee is happy to hear that, because it's $50,000 we could use for this project.
Awesome.
Okay? Before I open it up for discussion, a couple questions.
Sure.
This is quite well done. My biggest question is, one of the things that the committee is charged with is how will the public be served? And I notice you're serving all the youth sports in town. That's great, the baseball, softball, etc. How about open recreation, allowing the rec department to use it and supervise it?
So allowing the parks and
It's-
rec?
Well, I don't know who would do it, but if there were open hours where I could go back, I'm not on a team, I'm not on anybody, but I want to try it. Is there a machine involved?
Not in this proposal.
So it's just someone tossing? How does it work?
So you can use the machine. So typically with the teams that would use it, you would have.
You bring the machine with you?
You have your
I
coaches
get
pitch,
you.
you have the players pitch.
So it'd be very hard for anybody in the community to use it because they don't have a machine.
Well, you could, yes, but you could practice pitching and hitting at the same time. You would have screens up to protect the
Oh.
pitcher.
Well,
And then
how would
some
you
of the
feel
equipment
about that,
where-
opening it up? Because
All right.
we got another member.
I think the way that it could be used would not be on an individual basis, but I think there could be used by groups, much the way we look at how the football field lights are used. You know, we wouldn't have just you down there turning the football lights on, but there would be a process for having community groups come in and use the batting cages, and that would have to be something that went through approval by, I assume,
But
by
who
the
would
superintendent.
who would supervise it?
Well, it would have to come down to the school.
And if you're saying it, for your example, it was the park and rec, probably.
I don't know. Well, I just wanted to try and open it up a little more. So if a team that wants to practice hitting, the police department just told me they need it because they got killed and their softball team needs batting practice.
Right.
You're not going to deny them, and I'm wondering how that would work, because I know when you're
Well,
doing
it would
it.
fall under the school, it would be a school facility, so it would fall under the school facility usage form that's already in place for all our other facilities.
So there
that
might
would
be
need to
there'd be an
filled out.
opportunity maybe to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just like there's opportunity to use our gym and all our other facilities, and there is a process for that.
So that's important to me, that there is a process in place. So a local team, softball team, might want to use it. They bring their own machine. They just go to the school department to get permission.
Right.
Okay.
Local.
You guys want to ask questions, committee members?
And if they don't, I mean,
If they don't want.
go and ask permission. I mean, I guess it's
Well,
just going to be
the
right
door's
there.
gonna be locked, right?
Is it going to be locked, or?
There's going to be a fence around and yes. It would
So
be
it's
locked.
like a tennis court or something that has a lockable gate kind of thing? Or
Yes.
it's chain link, is that my understanding?
It's,
Two sides are chain links, and then 2 sides are vinyl.
I think if this picture's accurate, they could hop that fence. Somebody could.
Well, that's of the batting cage itself without the fence.
Oh, okay, there's a fence there, yeah.
That,
All right.
that one's showing you're behind, like, that would be the fence there. That's just an example more of the structure itself.
Okay.
I believe we had in there was an 8-foot fence.
Yeah.
I think around the whole thing.
And that's part of the budget?
Yes.
Do your members want to ask questions, or we'll open it up?
I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Can you let us know exactly where it's going to be, or did we already cover that?
Sure, it's,
No.
it's going to be in the grassy area, beyond the, parking lot at the high school, which is currently not being used for anything.
Toward
Grassy.
Daly?
Yeah, next to Daly.
Okay.
On the other, like not on the baseball field side of the fence, like on the other, like in between the parking lot and the baseball field, there's that fence. On the parking lot side of that, essentially.
Right,
Got
because
it.
that's the high school
Yeah.
versus the park on the other side.
Oh, okay, I get it. That makes sense.
Patty, do you want to present, I should have said this, you should present, anything else you want to present about this? I mean, it's very well written, so.
Thank you. I think it's just important, again, to note that a number of the communities, probably 90% of the communities around us, have this type of facility for their teams. Our varsity baseball coach, who is bringing his son to college today, you know, he goes around to all the different schools, and most of them have a batting cage facility for pitching and batting practice. It's important on a number of levels for repetition while practicing in terms of hitting and pitching. And it can also be used prior to a game because of its proximity to our varsity field and the American Legion field as well. That you could actually use it for warm-ups, for, you know, putting it before a game, for a pitcher going in, or for a pitcher going in partway through the game. And these are things that are not only important to you know, in terms of the competitive edge, but also in terms of safety for our athletes, learning how to throw properly, learning how to hit properly. And that kind of work can be done so much better in this type of area than just on a field somewhere.
I'd like to add that it is open up. You can see the support we have for other youth group, high school
Can you just
players.
state your name
Joe
for the-
Duchesne.
and address for the record? Thank you.
Yeah.
I just say.
London.
Okay. How would that work, Patty, the local youth groups wanting to use it? Is it that something they
Yeah,
have to
I
put
mean-
in a form all the time? It gets a little bureaucratic.
Right, well, what we would do would be, I would say we would do it as a seasonal, and we would look for times a day that we would ask them to make a schedule, not like, okay, I want to use it today, here's a form. I want to use it tomorrow, here's a form. But make up a schedule. Most of the teams operate on a schedule because parents need to know.
Well, and you would
what's
need to
going
know
on.
so that your high school teams would be
Yeah.
first crack at it, right? Anybody else want to say anything?
Just
John.
a quick clarification, so there's no indication that lighting is part of it, so it's a daytime only usage?
Good point.
And there's no, because, for example, before, we've determined that if anything like that's something that you might want in the future, now's the time to add it,
Right.
rather than later as an additional request, so there's no
Yeah.
desire to do anything
No.
after dark, it's just a daytime?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Are you comfortable with its security?
yes.
Does it have video surveillance in that area of the,
It's,
The school
we do
parking lot.
not have video surveillance in that area of the school parking lot.
okay. Well, let's hope it doesn't. Yeah. Harry?
Well, you know, our soccer shack and
Yeah, I know,
baseball
things are-
shack were just broken into as well. So.
Well, that's why I was hoping you might already have video on the building there or something.
Right. One of the things we
Just
do
a second.
want to be able to, where that's part of this, is a shed that would be able to lock up and secure
There is a shed
smaller
involved.
pieces of equipment.
There's a shed involved? In the construction, in the budget, there's a shed?
Yep.
Oh, I just didn't, okay. Harry?
The only question I have is this something that's going out to bid, or is this the final price, or what's happening?
Can you answer that? Is it going out to bid, or is this, who's doing this?
I don't think we actually need to go out to bid on this, is my understanding from the business office. And because most of the, as you can see, there's, community volunteers would be doing, most of the labor. So the batting cage itself, which
So it's the
is-
purchase of equipment mostly.
Yep. And then, if, I suppose, the fence could go out to bid if that were the process. And that's not what I got from the business office at the high school, but I might be wrong, so I apologize for that.
Okay, but did you check with the business office? Can I answer your question, Harry?
Yeah, so usually everything we have, we get.
I think it depends on there's a certain level, and I think it's because of the labor issue, which is volunteer. It may not need it. I don't know the answer to the question, though, but I think that's important when you come back, confirm that. It does not have to go out to bid, and why. That'd be great. I think that's a legitimate question. Anything else? Anybody else want to say anything? Scott?
I'm just thinking about, we're in the process of renewing the CPA plan for the
Yes.
year, and like one of the things that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know one of the things in there was like an outdoor climbing wall was something that was being looked at, and like thinking about this, and I'm just wondering if there's any, like if there's been a process of sort of determining best space for kind of anything you'd want to do in the future. You know what I mean? Like as far as where things would go in the determination of where the batting, if this batting kit, like locating it there as opposed to, I don't know, somewhere else, or what, just the process of determining what might go where in kind of your longer term vision of hoping to add different facilities.
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't think of a better place for the batting cages based on its proximity to the
Sure.
varsity
No, I mean, yeah.
field. So I think there's other areas for something like a climbing wall, which I'm not aware of as something that's being.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know if it was in. Someone put it in there. I don't know who it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I'm not in charge of everything.
Okay.
I don't know how old that is either, Scott.
Yeah. All right.
But yes,
They've been in there for years.
I do know, like, I received an email from Jamie, talking about the plan for next year, and we're gonna sit down and review that. But again, I don't think that this would be in conflict with something else that would be better in that spot.
I think it's also worth to point out that it's not taking up the whole space either. So we've got a little spot located off to the side, but if there were other things that need to go there, like a rock climbing wall, I could definitely see that.
And that's not speaking to, because obviously, and especially looking at the support that's in this room, and I think it's really, you make a really compelling case. I just was looking at kind of,
Yeah.
we don't want to,
Making-
but, like
making
sort of thinking of
sense.
everything, because,
Right.
we did the football lights, obviously there's different places, but eventually, there's going to be more things, and just wanting to make sure we're putting everything where we want it, having a cohesive plan.
Yeah.
Great.
Go ahead.
You said that other schools have like batting cages, and I'm not really familiar with the different types of batting cages. Are there different types of batting cages, and is this pretty much similar to what you've seen at other locations?
Yeah, and there's different types. We've been exchanging pictures back and forth to go to different fields. College level fields are probably a little more elaborate. This is, I'd say, on par with the ones I've seen.
Yeah, and then, South Hadley has a nice setup, Ludlow has a nice setup, Greenville has a nice setup. You can buy the handicaps and make it appropriate for the area.
Do you guys have the machines, the baseball and softball pitching machines already?
Yeah, that was not included in this.
I know,
Yeah.
if you don't have them, why not include them? That's what I was gonna say.
Well, I think that the high school was going to provide some of the equipment as part of sort of our in-kind.
So that, it's in here, but the high school's doing it, okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm just curious.
What's the lifespan of something like this?
The cages themselves, probably, if you keep them outdoors year round, 6, 7 years, but if you take care of them, put them away, like we want to put them in sheds, you can get
They look like netting. You'd probably take it down over the winter, right?
Correct. They're clip-on. The framework itself is actual wood. Depends on which one we go with.
And the frame would stay up, but the netting.
And the framework is simple. It has right poles that fit double cable.
Good.
So the hope is like 7 to 14 year kind of span maybe for this, you know, and somebody's gonna be taking it down. Who would that be? Somebody in the school, is that right, or?
I think that's a joint effort, people living in it, stuff. And then it would be,
And you, Joe, they'll probably basically, it'll be more the netting that you'd be looking at replacing that, but the frame's probably gonna last as long as a regular fence or anything else you're so your cost for replacement's not anywhere near what you're putting the thing in.
we can anticipate that. Take care of that.
Okay.
And the usage would be, I saw a 3-season as far as, you know, sort of the weather permitting for usage. Would you anticipate, I mean, I imagine some seasons more heavy use, but do you expect to have 3 seasons worth of use?
Absolutely.
We're still playing ball now in the fall, right?
Yep.
Just started.
So the intent, I assume, is to get this up and ready for spring?
Yes.
Okay. Any members of the public? It's your chance to say anything? Support or opposed? I think if there's someone in here opposed, you better.
Yeah, right. Just so we know where you all stand.
Go ahead, and state your name for the record.
It's
sir.
Matt Sawyer, 7 Payson Avenue. I'm the baseball coach at Williston, and we put in a batting cage a couple of years ago. It's incredibly great for our kids. Makes practice much more efficient, get much more work done. Kids really like it. Just all pluses. It's been great for us. I can imagine the same thing for the teams, the high school, the Legion, and the youth of Easthampton. So I'm a big proponent of this idea.
Saves coaches' arms, right?
Well, it's interesting because we almost never use a machine.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that's sort of
Do you let the kids pitch?
coaches, kids. There's an L screen, I assume, that's part of this. But it gets a ton of use and it's really efficient and better for the kids.
This is good. Thank you for coming. That's very good. Anybody else?
Matt, were there any considerations that Williston had that you're aware of for selecting or, I don't know?
Type of-
You said it was a couple years ago, so.
Yeah.
I know you've been around that long, like
Right.
anything that was part of that discussion on Williston's end?
Just in terms of like what the pipes and the netting and like that, is that what you mean, or just
Anything, the type, the cost, the setup, the takedown, anything that we should be aware of?
Just we do, you know, again, the poles are up year round. We have netting, just got taken down for us. Yeah, and certainly it's been for a couple of years. The netting has been great. I can imagine your question, to speak to your question, Greg, getting years and years out of the netting if you take care of it.
Doesn't look like there's a lot of difference in manufacturing on this stuff, right? I mean,
you can bargain on too, so you'll narrow it down.
Well, you're not going to buy cheap netting. You're buying something that'll last.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
All right, that's important to me. Okay. Anything else in the committee? So, I'm looking at a funding cycle, which ends, this is a committee discussion here, funding decision of November 16th. I'm in favor of moving this a little quicker than that, only because we don't have anything else on our plate that's competing or causing us to wait. And again, once this is approved by the CPA, it has to go to council. Council has to send it to finance, then it goes to the full council. So you've got 2 meetings there. So, just committee members, do you think we could move this along at the next meeting, vote on it, let everybody digest it? Vote on it next meeting, which is September.
I have no objections.
Do you have, anybody have any objections to that? So, we'll let the committee digest this, okay? And next meeting, we'll vote on it. And then it'll go right to city council. You should have, knowing the timing sequence, that would be the second meeting, it would go to the first meeting in October to city council. Second meeting in October, it would be passed, public hearing. So you would have the ability to purchase it for November. Does that work? Works good?
That works? Yep.
Okay.
And-
Government runs slow, but it is taxpayer money, we have to be
Hey,
paid.
if you're willing to move on now, it would help.
Can should I email Jamie with the information about the bid process?
I would, you just talk to Melissa about it. Are you talking about your business manager?
Yes.
All right, well,
No, but
have-
I'm talking about where should I send the answer to your question?
I know, but who you're
Bring
gonna,
it to the next meeting, but if you, right, so that.
if you have something in writing, send it to Jamie so we can send it
Yeah,
out.
perfect.
But,
Yeah.
you know, you should talk to Melissa because it's CPA money and not
Okay.
city money. I mean,
Got
not
it.
school money. Okay? All right? But that's a very good question, Harry. We're gonna get that solved. Anything else from the committee? We're gonna vote on it next meeting.
Sure, I'm just curious if anybody else from the public wanted to speak.
I asked a couple times.
Okay. All right.
Thank you all for coming. We set up a party for you. We do this typically when groups come, you know, so grab a burger.
I want you to know that what we normally do with this is set up what basically is a contract.
Yes.
And one of the conditions would be to open it up through the school system, open it up to citywide recreational usage through the school department. I'd like to add that, and if the committee approves that, that'll be in the next meeting.
Okay.
So what you're gonna get at the next meeting is a regular form that you'll sign, or Nancy will sign.
Yeah, I am.
You don't sign that. If,
I can sign it.
all right. But that would be one of the conditions, is that we try to broaden it to the regular non-youth group, non-high school public. The police department's softball team.
Great.
I wouldn't deny them, by the way, Pat.
No, never.
They need help, too. They lost every game. They couldn't.
Okay, well, we have some great coaches here. Maybe
That might be it, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Oh, no, sorry, yeah. I already done a couple notes.
do you have anything you wanted to bring up about?
Yeah, so,
Guys, we were gonna talk about the possibility of people going to, where's that meeting?
I sent an email to everyone about
By the way.
risk meeting.
Thank you all.
There's a meeting a CPA meeting about CPA in urban
Setting.
settings.
Was it Somerville?
Yeah, Somerville, I think it was September 16th. If anyone wants to go, I believe it's free to register. We have money in the admin budget that can be used for travel.
You get 50 cents a mile, I think it is.
It'll be on reimbursement basis, so you need to say your receipts or just show like a map of the drive or whatever. But, if you're
Yeah.
interested, let me know. I'll be in the office next week and we can set that up.
And anytime we do have these, there is money to pay for it in the budget. If somebody wants to go, if there's a historic thing you wanted to go to CPA and historic preservation. So.
Yeah, what day of the week is that? Do you know offhand?
It's a Saturday?
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Is it?
I know.
This is different than the historic preservation thing they sent out, or is it the same thing?
This is different. The historic preservation thing was in July or August.
We missed it.
I wanted to go, I
Yeah.
couldn't.
And I couldn't go as well, but I periodically send out these things as I get them, and if they look relevant or interesting, so let me know. We can figure out how to get reimbursements for the registration fees, if there are any, or gas and tolls.
Anything else you want to bring up, Jamie?
I'm not going to be here next month. We talked about that, so we're pushing the annual meeting
To
to
October.
October. So that's October 19th.
So you're not here at the next CPA?
I won't be here at the next meeting.
That means John's on duty. Okay.
So I'll try to have everything set up, and I'll leave everything, the papers and everything in your
So at that meeting, I think we have to approve the community preservation plan.
No.
What's the draft? Oh,
So we'll.
I don't know I don't remember the process. Does it get approved after the open meeting?
After the open meeting, we'll take comments, if people come, and then those comments will get incorporated, so in the November meeting, that's when the plan would be
Should
accepted.
we try to get upstairs again? Since you're not gonna be here, I'd ask if we need to do that.
Well, no, she says she's gonna be
I'll
here.
be here
We're gonna
for
move it,
October.
we're gonna move it to October, so
I
she can be
know,
here.
but I need to make sure that we set up, if we're gonna use upstairs again, she could do that in the meantime. Do you
I mean,
think we
what
need
do you
it?
guys think? I mean, last year, there were,
There were enough people there, I think, to justify it.
I mean, if we have this many people, we're
Yeah.
better off upstairs
Yeah,
than
right.
down here.
Yeah, we had at least
What- what's the downside if?
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not, I think we can do that. So you could set that up, and I say that if you have to change the meeting date, because that's not available, it gives you 2 months to figure that out.
It should be fine. I don't think there's much conflict.
Or you could set it up now,
Yeah.
because we've just said
I'll
that.
do that next week.
Okay, then moving on to the other thing is that comp balances and open projects. I was very happy to hear, that was one of my pet peeves, you know that is. And I wasn't gonna give them 30 when they still had 50 outstanding. I really wasn't, because I was gonna hold off. But it's coming back, right? We're getting it back soon?
Yeah, I got the invoice yesterday for the, to pay the contractor.
For the final lighting.
For the final lighting. So next week, once that payment goes out, and then I have a letter from Dale saying that it's done and to return the funds and that back in, so it should come back to the CPA before the next week.
And the only thing else they have out is the playground, but that's only $1,700.
Yeah, and the update I got from Patty on that was that the fall wall is being, foundations are being dug, and
So they still have more work to do.
Construction is going on this week.
All right, good.
So, should be that one should be wrapping up pretty soon as well.
And the Cook Road open space protection, you all heard that we got the
Yeah.
grant for that, but it's $50,000 more because it was the other, it was
Yeah.
a water grant.
We have, so everything's been paid, other than we're still waiting for one last invoice for the appraisal. And once that's through, it looks like we'll be returning about $8,500 to the CPA.
For that, the Cook Road?
for the Cook Road. So there was a little bit of money in the sort of contingency, on top of the 50,000 for the grant, there's a little bit of extra money in contingency for appraisals and lawyer fee and things like that, so we have.
Excellent.
So there should be about 8,800 or so coming back.
Good.
Um,
Okay. I think-
Eckerdale Orchard, Commission.
Well, that was just,
Yeah, so they're working with that, and they've done the invasive plant plan, and, first time home buyer and housing rehab are moving forward.
all right. Excellent. Any questions on the balance of the projects? So we have, she sent out a draft of the community preservation plan, and I noticed on that it looks like it's the same as last year. Have you made any updates on it?
I did.
And I don't know
I
how to
did-
know what they are. That's what I was gonna ask you to do, is maybe underline anything.
Yeah, I mean,
that you know.
I can send out a red line version. I just,
I
in the
would like
past,
that.
when I've done that, it's sort of, it's hard to read, so I didn't know what the preference was of everyone. So this is with all changes sort of accepted, but I can send out a,
Changes from last year.
yeah, so I took
Updates.
I spent some time, revised some of the sections, and then, yeah, so I can
Is
send.
there any way you can just highlight this is new language, maybe with a highlighter instead of a red line? I just want to know what's new versus
Yeah, I don't
last
mind the
year.
red line. I like having both, I guess.
Whatever's easier for you, Gene.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind- I wouldn't
just so
mind
I could
seeing
tell,
changes.
this is new language, that's all I care about.
Yeah, that's easy to do. I mean, it's, you
Alright.
just put the two documents in Word, we'll merge them,
Oh.
and it'll show deletions.
I didn't know Word did that. Cool.
It'll show deletions and cross out and new additions in green.
And then the appendix C, Does this need to be updated for things that have been done already?
I did remove some things
Okay,
that
you did that already.
I thought were obvious, but because it comes from those groups, I didn't take too much liberty with, like, I took out Cook Road because clearly that was done. But there are other things in there that I wasn't sure, you know, with the affordable, the housing partnership, they have, you know, they're doing first-time home buyer and housing rehab, but I know that it's one of their things is to continue doing it. So even though it's funded right now,
It may be funded again.
It makes sense. I thought, like, if that's still their priority, it makes sense to keep it on their list of continuing to fund it, and that if they think they want to keep coming back when that's done, it doesn't make sense to remove it.
It would be great, I don't know if this is possible, if somebody representing these groups comes to the open meeting, one of my questions would be, you see the list of projects there, are they still current in your mind? You know, I'd like to know if there's something that they're no longer considering.
Well, I did send out that.
I saw that, you sent out yeah, and I got every one of them.
Well, I just copied you because I thought you should be, you know.
No, that you said, I trust you.
Knowing that, well, I know this was like, you're the chair, so it makes
All
sense
right.
that you were involved in that, on behalf of the CPA committee.
Well, hopefully they'll show up and tell us what's,
I'm hoping to get responses from them, so that way, for the meeting, it's already included.
if they have something new to add, I mean.
Yeah, or if they're removing stuff that by the end of September, if I get all their changes back, the plan, what you get in October will include
Reflect those.
what they've said.
I just think I see this list, and we didn't have a meeting, we had no projects proposed in June, we had no meeting in July, and I see this list and I'm going, why aren't people proposing projects? We have over $1 million in the bank right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over $1 million in the bank.
Yeah. They're
Let's
coming.
use the money, well,
Yeah.
okay.
I know the historical commission is planning on asking, so.
Emily Wilson Library may be coming.
Oh,
We
looks
have
like they
we have
need-
Old City Hall, I mean, we're gonna have some big ticket items
No,
maybe
they're
coming
closing
down the.
down.
Oh, I know the big ticket item of the second floor is there, but that's down the road, we pay for
Temporarily.
the.
Temporary.
Yeah, it is. No, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Wilson Library ended up
Yeah.
coming for something.
I mean,
Town hall
so I had.
might pop that budget down, I think, you know.
I had a meeting with one of the volunteers from the library 8 months ago, and they were ready to come to the CPA event, but then they decided they wanted to do some more master planning and big visioning before they came back to us.
Well, how are they paying for this big renovation they're doing now? Okay.
Yeah, it's closed right now, right? It's closed for like.
Well, they're gonna
This foundation
moving a
work
lot of it
there,
over to
yeah.
the Eastworks. Okay.
We had a
I didn't know the library is
We're
eligible for
moved.
CPA funding,
Yeah, it's
That's
a.
all right.
Historic building,
it's-
right?
It's a historic building.
It's a
There you go.
historic building.
right? All right.
They put a new boiler in that thing.
Yeah,
I don't
and a new
remember.
roof.
See, Harry, you got a good mind. I don't care what people say.
Um,
Remember that?
I do remember now. Well, you have to understand, I vote on a lot of money items all over the place. It's hard to remember. I know we did a boiler for the high school last year. One of the grade schools. Okay.
So, just as I'm not gonna be at the next meeting. Do you want to put the discussion for the annual meeting on hold? Or do you guys want to discuss?
Discussion.
If I give you the red line version of the plan,
Reservation plan.
is
discussion.
that something that you're gonna want on the next agenda to talk about?
I think
or-
if any member has a question, John could relay it to you. If we vote to change something, I
don't
think
mind.
we can still discuss it,
Yeah, I
right?
think we have
We'll
the
put it
agenda.
on there, if we just pass it right by, no big deal.
Yeah, we're not passing it, we're just saying, can we not say this or can we say this? Because we're not gonna do a final version until after the open meeting, right?
Right.
So that would be the November meeting in which we discuss the final version and whether we wanna make any amendments before that, it's okay. Does that work?
Yeah. So I'll get a revive, like a markup version to everyone
Before September.
for the September meeting, and then,
Yeah, that's only 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks, because we have this meeting.
and then I assume I'll get some comments back from all the people that I emailed with that.
What I propose is we look at that. We don't have to vote on changes. You know, you might want to discuss what you want to do with it. I don't know if I have any changes I have to worry about. But then we can pass along to Jamie our thoughts, okay? And she might have reasons for including language that we're not aware of. And she could email you back if you have a question, why is this language in there, et cetera. But, good.
Okay.
Anything else?
I got a hypothetical for you.
Okay.
All right, so we go out on a limb and we're gonna finance the old town hall, right, upstairs. It's like $4 million, whatever it is. And we're thinking about getting a bond for that, remember we were talking about that?
That's part of the hypothetical situation.
Right, this is all hypothetical, okay?
Yes.
So what would happen if the CPA, all of a sudden Easthampton decides to drop the CPA?
Are you proposing that?
How would that $4 million get paid?
So if the city has authorized bonding and the CPA is, by vote of the residents, is like struck down,
Right.
by state law, it will be, no new taxes will be collected, but they will still collect the CPA tax to cover the bond
Okay.
amount until it's paid off.
Okay.
So it would, you know, if there's a bond for 20 years, you know.
Over 20 years, they collect enough CPA tax to pay it every year.
Nice job, Jamie. I'm impressed. You knew the answer to that
Yeah.
right away.
And I'm glad to hear that, because I've been thinking about it. I'm going, what the heck would happen, you know, if we're in a whole.
But Harry, it disturbs me that you think we'd voted out. I hope not.
No, I know, I mean, it's crazy, but you know, I mean, the way things happen.
We know Harry's a fan. But somebody else thought of it too, obviously.
Wow.
Well, somebody else thought about it because there was a quick answer coming back.
I went to a training 2 years ago when that came up, so.
That's great. I'm glad, I'm glad.
Hold on to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Thanks
a
for
little
the
upset that they didn't vote in that increase in our match because it makes it hard to vote on a big bonding issue when you're not getting as much money in as you.
Yeah, but we're getting squeezed, you know?
Well, and the perception of the value of the CPA Act, and locally, it's, you know, we don't have the match coming from the state, it sours people on just having
Exactly.
CPA, so I agree.
That's a very good point. All right, so we've decided on how to proceed. We're all gonna get copies of the red line version of the reservation plan. Next meeting, put it on the agenda to discuss it. If there's anything in there that you're wondering why it's there, if we can't answer it, we'll send that to Jamie, or we will say, hey, that's a good idea, we'll vote new language, and John will pass that on to you.
I
Okay?
guess that's, if there's no objections, then we can sort of just go through as like consensus to.
No, if there's no objections, it'll stay.
Yeah.
We're not voting on it final until after the meeting, right? So November, we decide. Okay. So the next meeting is the September 21st. How many of you think you can make it? Since I had a quorum issue for the first time. Very good. You're not gonna be able to make it, eh?
Not sure.
All right. Okay.
John, do you have any update? We've been carrying the off the map on the inactive projects for a while.
I was gonna ask about that.
Historic Commission ever?
The Historic Commission, think about my wording here, but yeah, essentially agreed that it was not.
Not a historic building.
Let's go with that.
Is that in the minutes of a historic commission meeting?
I believe so. I'm not positive.
Well, you
Check
can't,
and
the
see.
historic commission can't make a statement that they agreed that this, of anything, if it's not gonna be a public record.
No, I just don't know that I have the I don't have those minutes, is what I'm saying.
Well, if you could
But
send
yeah,
that,
it's part of the
you could
official
send that to
determination.
Jamie, that will determine for us to take it off. So that would be important to get to us for the next meeting. Because if the, well, we could decide, if the historic commission says no, we could still say yes, but this council won't.
Yeah, I'll double check.
We can't?
No.
Oh, really? See, we can't. Good. You got us off the hook, John.
Well, let me
Sorry.
elaborate, since we're on the record now, too. It wasn't so much that the building itself is not historical. What it amounts to is that the portion that is the tin ceilings, which does not translate in terms of the CPA into a public good, so to speak, even if everybody comes in and gawks at it. And that the portion of the building that is most significant to us is the facade, but it's been significantly changed in such a way that what they'd need to request would be something like a major rehab of the facade, and that really has still nothing to do with the interior and the tin ceilings, and doesn't jive with a historical use or a public good as per their request.
But obviously Jamie has enlightened me that if the historic commission has on the record voted against declaring that historic, for whatever purpose, CPA's purposes,
We declined their request.
if that could be passed along to Jamie as an official
Yeah, the
position.
official minutes, I think.
Anyway,
It's in
can we
there.
make sure that gets to Jamie for the next meeting, because then we'll have to take it off. Do I agree with that? Yeah. All right.
You have no idea how happy I am that Jamie was involved with the historical commission.
That's helped, I heard.
I'll be at their meeting on Tuesday.
3 chairs.
There, now, why aren't, so you're at the meeting as what, as a member?
I am there, no, so I was there was a quorum issue, so there was a temporary appointment of myself. The mayor temporarily appointed me so that way I could sit on their hearing for the demo delay for a couple buildings on
Main Street.
Main Street. But now that's done, I'm no longer on the committee, but I will be going there as like administrative staff support to help them.
I'd love to see you.
Function.
I'd love to
Yeah.
see you.
You were
on-
temporary appointed as a member?
I'd love to see you as a
Yeah.
member. They had to, because they couldn't
Not as a resident.
demolish this building until you guys said
Vehicle.
I'm not a member, I'm not a resident.
That's
but-
what I mean, yeah.
But the mayor said that under the charter,
You don't have to.
employees, people who
Employees.
can also be
employees.
Good to know.
members of committees. So
I didn't know that. Good to know.
I didn't know that.
I fully support it for you. Just to clarify.
Interesting. I have newfound respect for people who have to make decisions.
I didn't know you didn't have respect, but newfound?
It's a lot
Additional
harder to be up there, to you guys to make the decision, like, is this the right thing? Do we spend the money on? All I have to say is like, you know, these are your choices. You guys have to decide and make the decision. It's harder than you're actually up there making a decision. Like, your vote matters to.
Do they have a
I think it's
quorum
harder to
issue
remember
now?
10 years later to tell Harry, well, actually, Harry, if it was bonded, you know, that seems like the hard thing to me. Remember all that. I was
I can do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade places.
Are they gonna have
Quite the
a
statement,
quorum
you know?
issue? No, if Jamie's not on the
Hopefully
meeting?
No, it's, we have enough members to have a quorum, but for that meeting, we had somebody who was in the hospital and somebody who was out of the country.
We have new members now too?
No new members.
So we have a committee that couldn't meet for a long time and now it's meeting?
Yes.
Because maybe Jamie's pushing them, that's,
I've only gone to one meeting.
well, whatever you've done, it's working.
It's
All
the
right.
process.
Well, try to, if you could mention it to the committee, we need those minutes.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
I just have a quick question. I'm just thinking about, we were talking about October and November, and we're getting close to an election, right? So
Mhm.
how does it work for, like, this committee as far as going into the new year? Do we
You're
automatically-
appointed for a term,
Okay,
and when your term is up, like, you're a mayor's appointee.
right.
There's
So
gonna be
we're
a
gonna have a new mayor,
We're
right?
gonna have a new mayor. let me tell you something, if a mayor decides that they don't like you, but that would be amazing, but you just have to reapply that you want to continue. And everybody else is appointed, like city council would have to reappoint Greg, for instance, but I think you were just reappointed, right? I think everybody's got like a 3-year term.
Yeah, it's a 3-year term.
3-year term.
And it's a third of the board turns over every year. So the only person who would have a shorter term would be the city council representative if they didn't get voted back into, or if they decided not to run again.
I'm running.
So,
Well,
Oh, so it's a 3-year term. Like if I'm in year 2, even though, like, would it?
it wouldn't matter that
You
the
probably
mayor.
won't get yanked.
No, I didn't think, I'm just curious how it worked, like what the.
well, when your term is up, you have to tell the mayor
Then I have to tell the mayor.
that I want to continue. And basically, I think Jamie is aware of what the terms are, so you could
Yeah.
ask, hey, when's my term up? I want to make sure I continue.
Yeah, they all expire December 31st of each year.
Okay.
And
And-
so, Barbara Lombard, the city clerk, mails out the every year, she, starting sometime September, October, she goes through and finds all the appointments that are expiring. She sends out notices of renewal if you're interested.
You hear about it.
You'll get notified. If it's, if you're a representative like the planning board or the historical commission, your term, when that's up, that body has to re-vote you back in. or-
It doesn't just, you have to get revoted, isn't it?
There should be some, like, it's a 3-year term, so you have to get that
Often
body that,
perfunctory.
yeah.
Well, if it's
I'm just curious.
the mayor's appointee, we still have to approve it as a council. The council appoints its own members, like Lyon would go through the council president. I'm on automatically because I'm the finance chair. Planning board, Harry, if he stops being a member of the planning board, then he can't be on this committee. Same thing with you and historic commission, et cetera, housing authority, whatever. Okay? All right, any other questions? See you in September. Meeting adjourned.